Exponential growth is a three-step process because every kind of growth requires you to be there, right? Now, you are already aware that for any kind of growth, you need your brain. But then, what you're not aware of is that your brain cannot create mind without the framework of self. So, if you have to think, and if you have to think brilliantly, you need a mind. And if you need a mind, you need a framework of self. Brain cannot think directly. First, it creates a framework of self. That framework of self helps it to create the mind. Let me illustrate with an example. For example, right now, if I ask you to stop being yourself, okay, pause it. For example, I am Mrinal, and I give myself the instruction, stop being Mrinal, okay? So I stop being Mrinal like this. I take it out of my mind. I'm not Mrinal. I'm nothing. No Mrinal, no self, okay? So sit like this. Now somebody comes to me and tells me, do you want this earpod? Okay? He comes and places it in front of me. And I have stopped the self, what I have, the Mrinal. Okay, I have stopped it. Now you see, I don't get a thought. There is no thought. So the thought comes the moment my self comes into action. So the framework of self is what is helping you to create the mind. And therefore, it depends completely on the framework of the self, what kind of mind you have. Is it possible to have a mind which will give you exponential growth? 100%. There are examples all around us. But then we don't need preaching. We want to know the process. We want to know what are the steps. So what are the 3 steps? For the 3 steps, you have to understand this framework of self has 3 layers. Layer number 1 is where you become emotionally absolutely secure. Okay? Now, in the brain's language, in the language of the brain, it is called warmth and safety. So people who either had great childhood and they have this inbuilt warmth and safety, which means they are supremely safe in their space. Their existence resonates with safety and their existence resonates with warmth. Okay? They are automatically givers and receivers of warmth. They automatically do that. It is the trait. Okay? Those people begin with the right step because in the first layer, if the warmth and safety are there, your emotional outcome for every step you take will be positive. Now let me explain this in the language of neuroscience. Whatever decisions you are taking, whatever actions you are taking, they have a 2-step process in your frontal brain. What is the 2-step process? First, the thought goes through ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, VLPFC. VLPFC calculates the emotional outcome of the decision you are going to make or the step you're going to take. If the emotional outcome is good, then it transfers the thought to the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Dorsolateral prefrontal cortex looks at the facts and uses the left brain to look at the details. Once both VLPFC and DLPFC agree, only then you get committed to the action. Now my question to you is, VLPFC, ventrolateral prefrontal cortex, is calculating the emotional outcome. If your layer 1 is not fully developed, where you feel warmth and safety automatically, how are you going to calculate the emotional outcome positively? Never. Even if you're taking the right step, even if you're taking the right decision, even if you're making the right call, you will automatically have a negative emotional outcome. You will always feel negatively emotionally about your decisions. So, because the emotional outcome of even the right steps which you're taking are going to be negative, when the thought goes to dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, it says, stop. I cannot process it. Why? Because ventrolateral prefrontal cortex gave a negative feedback. So that's the importance of layer 1. Are you warm and safe? Do you have inbuilt warmth and safety? Now the question automatically which will come to you is, how do we build that warmth and safety? So that is what we train you on in our training program, the Granular Self. Okay, we train you on that. We prepare your layer 1 in that program so that you develop it. Because without it, you will not be able to commit to anything. Now, are there examples where people who have had exponential growth or who are having exponential growth have this great layer 1 where their real PFC and the DLPFC are working in great cognizance, in great, they're complementing? Well, examples like Shah Rukh Khan, Elon Musk, they are glaring examples of it. Okay, so this layer 1 gives you the ability to have, the ability to imagine, the ability to visualize positive emotional outcome for your actions. Then you go to layer 2. Now there, once you are emotionally positive about the outcomes, you start thinking in terms of resources, you start thinking in terms of the forces, you start thinking in terms of the elements in the external environment. That's where you bring them together. You choose your forces, you choose your resources. In the sub-schemas which are operating in layer 2, you choose which sub-schemas you want to work upon and which sub-schemas you don't want to work upon. That's where cognition, your thinking mind, comes into action. That's where you get brilliant ideas. That's where your cognitive brilliance shines. Okay? So layer 2 is after layer 1. If you are not fully prepared in layer 1, you cannot exercise independence and control in layer 2. Layer 3 is the most important layer, because in layer 3, people who have exponential growth are able to find free will. Layer 3 is the layer of your topographical maps. Layer 3 is where your world comes alive, where perception really takes place. Now, layer 3 is where free will happens. So people who have exponential growth in life and career, because they have great layer 1, they are doing astoundingly, perfectly fine in layer 2. In layer 3, they realize, they experience free will. That's why you must have observed, some people seem to have a lot of free will and some don't. Those who don't experience free will, they will always tell you, this is all because of luck, this is all because of destiny. I also tried a lot, I never got success. You will always hear cynical suggestions and feedback from them. But those whose layer 1 and layer 2 are doing perfectly fine, in layer 3, they experience free will. That's where opposing forces don't matter to them. Challenges don't matter to them. They have the free will to choose their opportunities and to decide their growth story. Remember, these 3 layers are what we will train you on in our training program, the Granular Self. which will be rolled out very soon by the Pinaka Transformations. I'm the co-founder of Pinaka Transformations. My partner, Nopur Saxena, is the co-founder. We'll be rolling out these programs for you, and you will actually get into the world which is you, your own world, and you will exercise great independence and control. Thank you very much. God bless you.